let's say vegan,
Yeah.
if the whole world became vegan, then we are sort of interrupting as well the ecosystem
Exactly.
of the earth, because if everyone started eating only plant-based, there would be a lot of starvation, or there would be a lot of like plantation, which is great for the environment overall, but then either way,
But will
like
not be
human
enough, I
beings usually tend to overconsume
Exactly,
food
yeah.
Okay,
in all their diets. So I think we'll still be breaking sort of the ecosystem of
Okay, so I'm going to ask you 5 questions.
Okay.
And midway, I'm going to ask you both 5 questions, okay?
Alright.
So midway, you're going to realize what the topic is,
all right.
and then maybe we can converse more about the topic. Okay, so would you rather be a cat or a dog?
Dog.
Dog.
Okay, both dog people.
Yeah.
Love it. Would you rather be able to talk to animals or have temporarily take one of their enhanced senses or capabilities?
Talk to animals for me.
For me, talk to animals.
Can I ask why?
Because I sometimes I really want to understand like what animals would think when they do a rational
Okay.
move, or
Plus
what
we
would
have-
they think.
We have the senses of the animal. It's just like it's what's smelling.
Yeah, some animals have like enhanced smell, enhanced vision, enhanced hearing, right?
Yeah,
And
but for
even
a
say-
short period of time, it's better to talk
To
to
talk
them,
to
right?
them,
Yeah.
to see what
yeah,
they think.
that's a good point. Yeah, I would also choose that. So I'm not. Okay, would you rather have the intelligence of a dog or that of a pig?
For
Dog.
me, dog.
Dog.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, pigs are more intelligent than dogs,
Really?
by the way. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you know, pigs sometimes they do this thing where they pick flowers and they bring them back to where they live, and they put them in a corner to have it like beautified, because
No
it
way.
makes the place look beautiful for them.
Oh
yeah.
no way.
Yeah, pigs do that. It's impressive, isn't it? Yeah.
It is.
Wow.
But we are more intelligent
then
than the pigs.
Based
Yeah.
on what? On what pigs are more intelligent? Because I mean, dogs.
I mean,
can properly be trained to do things like, for example, help the blind, or.
I mean, pigs can also do that, right? I mean,
Oh, really?
I mean, you have seen there's pigs that are used for sniffing. What do you call the truffles and stuff?
Really?
Yeah,
No, but
yeah.
it's like to have the intelligence of the dog. He's more fun.
Yeah, I would
As a
say yeah.
human
Dog
being,
is
we
more
are more
fun, yeah.
intelligent than both. So
Yeah, yeah,
let's
yeah.
pick the
Alright.
funny one. Yeah.
Okay, would you rather be a well-fed farm animal whose life is full of exploitation, but only cut severely short when the farmer says you're no longer worthy to them, or a wild animal who is on the brink of starvation most of the time, but you're free to live as long as you want or as much as you
Wild
can?
animal, 100% for
Yeah, I think wild animals.
Because you value freedom?
me. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I'm the same. I would answer the same. Okay, if you would have to choose, and this is the final question, right? If you had to choose between one of the farm animals in today's society, which one would you choose? A cow for dairy, a cow for meat, a pig, a chicken?
I think cow.
Cow for meat, maybe.
A cow for meat.
For meat, for milk,
Can I ask why?
more delicious. Just say it. Don't-
Yeah, I mean, we do eat meat.
Yeah. So I suppose you have realized what the topic
Yeah,
of this
yeah.
discussion is. I'm trying to have positive conversations with people to get them to
Good.
think from the perspective of animals, right?
Yeah.
And let's say you eat meat, right? Can I ask, and you would have this capability to speak to animals, which you would be granted
Yeah.
temporarily. What would you tell the victim that you're eating? Like, what would you tell?
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
No.
Do you think we need to consume animal products to survive and thrive?
Yes. I personally consume.
But do you think we need to? Like, as in, if we don't, we'll
Can I
die.
answer this? I would say this. I think the cycle of life, we are animals. We are talking, and we are some type of animals, right or no?
Yeah.
Do you believe in Darwin or no?
In?
Darwin.
Yeah, I
Darwin's
believe in
theory,
evolution.
we are-
Yeah, of course.
We
of
are
course.
kind
Yeah.
of animals, let's
Yeah.
say. And if you are convincing us, or anyone who's convincing us not to eat cows, then you might go to the lion and convince him not to eat the deers, or I don't know, rabbits.
But let's get to that all in good time.
Yeah. But the problem with the human beings that we are more consuming, like extra consuming this. But
we
I think
we have
overdo it.
overconsumption basically
Yeah.
of animals.
But I don't think it's harmful for the animals
I mean,
or for
you
us.
could have it in a moderate way.
Yeah.
But not on every single meal. But I do believe that, like, if you are to eat more natural food, because it's even part of the animal cycle to eat. Like, some of them have, of
Yeah.
course, some of them are carnivores. They need to eat meat to survive.
Yeah.
And others can be plant-based.
But do we need to eat animals?
I think we do.
And
Maybe even if it was a short consumption, we
Yes.
actually do. I know there are supplements that human beings created, like B12. Maybe you are allergic to specific supplements that you cannot really have the supplements, but you can consume it with food. So I think overall, moderately, yes, we do.
Yeah.
So there's this institution called the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. It's one of the biggest institutions in the world of nutritionists. It's got like 1,000 members or something along those lines. It's not a vegan institution by no regards, and they claim that the vegan diet is suitable for all ages and stages of life, which means that a well-planned vegan diet, right? Because as you said, some things need to be supplemented. Let's say B12, right? But given that, the reason why I asked the initial questions were to see from the perspective of the animals, and you are aware that I don't know if you're aware about all of the practices that are in the animal industry,
for sure.
but
We know that there's
animals are clearly
elements, yeah.
going through suffering and cruelty for all this, right? So it's safe to say that us as human beings, we can find a way to survive without doing this to them, because it's not theoretically needed, because we can supplement B12 or any other kind of supplements that
Even
we
they are
need.
doing something like artificial meat in Japan.
Yeah, or
right
artificial
now, but
meat
it's
when
not-
we have this, all of this, right? So given that we don't need to consume any of these animal products, and given that there's so much cruelty towards these animals, don't you think we kind of have this moral obligation to not
But I
do
think-
this to them?
See, I think the system, this like even
It's part of the like life cycle. It's part of the ecosystem, like.
And,
if-
But all these animals are not part of any ecosystem, are they? Because they are in. Have you seen any pigs outside? All of them are kept inside, right? Let's just take pig for example. All of the pigs are kept in houses. If all those pigs die, there's no ecosystem that gets unbalanced or anything, right? Nothing happens. All of these animals are animals that we bred into existence
Maybe,
only
yes.
for the sole purpose of us exploiting them and then killing them, right?
No, in our areas we don't eat pigs because we live in Muslim areas, so they
Okay.
don't consume. But we consume a lot sheep.
Yeah, but it's the
and
same
cows.
for everything,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
It's the
But
same
I
for
think
all
even the
animals.
plants, if you want to take it from that perspective, even the plants, they have like soul. Let's say a soul. Even when you are cutting a flower, they measure it that they have like
senses.
senses or they feel pain or something.
Okay, so plants do not feel pain according to the scientific consensus. There was a study that said that plants scream. That's what the mass media
I
said.
think, no, this is
But what was happening is that they were expulging air, and they put microphones next to them.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
of course, sound is air moving,
For
right?
for
So
sure.
that's exactly
For
what they
sure.
heard. And mass media said out of this, plants scream. But
Yeah.
the reality is there is no common
But there is
sense.
the one with the avocados and the bees and how many bees are
Yeah,
killed
but
to something. I
even
don't know
towards
if
that,
you-
even
yeah.
towards that, right? You can say that not avocados are mostly eaten by not just by
Not
vegan people,
everyone,
by
yeah.
everybody,
Yeah,
right?
I know,
It's
yeah.
not a choice whether you between avocados and
But
plant-based
I mean,
products,
if
right?
everyone became, let's say, vegan,
Yeah.
if the whole world became vegan, then we are sort of interrupting as well the ecosystem
Exactly.
of the earth. Because if everyone started eating only plant-based, I'm happy that the animals will definitely live.
Yeah.
But then there would be a lot of starvation, or there would be a lot of like plantation, which is great for the environment overall. But then either way,
It will
like
not be
human
enough, I think.
beings usually tend to overconsume food.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay,
In all their diets. So I think we'll still be breaking sort of the ecosystem of life, where
I can
the
tackle-
plant, the animal. That's why, like, personally, what I believe in, like, everything in consumption, when it comes to moderate consumption, not overconsumption. I understand that these big companies, they need to make the money, so they overexploit, they breed, they kill the animals, they breed them into small houses just so they can grow them and then kill them and then sell them again and so on. But I think the bigger question is not individually, but more like talking directly to big corporations that do these things to animals to reduce it and maybe make the meat, let's say, prices much higher, and make the plant bases much lower. So
I'm sorry to
you
interrupt
can
you right there,
balance.
but you've said already three things. I put the three things here, so I want to tackle all of them, right? So let's say environmentally speaking, I'm going to put it on the side, and I'll explain to you why environmentally veganism makes more sense than any other diet, and why everybody going vegan would actually save the planet in all sorts of regards. But before we tackle the environmental decision, right? Being vegan, by the way, doesn't mean that you don't eat animal products because of the environment or anything else. Being vegan is a stance against animal cruelty, right? That's what it is. It says that if we don't need to consume animal products and we know that there's cruelty,
We
then
have
we
another
abstain from it, regardless. Even if it were bad for the environment, a vegan would say, I don't care, I'm doing this for the animals. They don't deserve this, because if you were in their shoes, you would say, where there's this other species on Earth that's consuming us, they don't need to, but they're doing it for pleasure or convenience or whatever they regard to as a reason, right? So that's number one, veganism. Do you understand this perspective that the animals, and do you agree that from this perspective for the
course.
animals?
See, we respect
Of
that.
course,
We respect that.
Yeah.
But what I'm telling you, we can be like the animals. By the way, we can have some who are vegan, like the cows and the sheep, and we have some like meat-based. I don't know. They eat meat like lions or.
Yeah, but we don't need to eat any meat, right? And every time, even if you will.
They need to eat meat, but we don't need to eat
Yeah, lions are carnivores. They do
they're
eat
carnivores.
meat, right? And the difference is, if there was lions, let's say, because a lot of people, you tackle the lion argument. Well, if I could speak to lions and tell them, listen, we can create a food specifically for you that is nutritious, that you don't need to consume any of this, then I would go and stand with a
get you,
camera
I
for
get
lions
you.
and tell them. But I cannot. I can only speak to humans, unfortunately,
But
and I
even
cannot.
lions sometimes kill for territory reasons.
Yeah.
Exactly,
So-
they kill for several reasons.
Exactly.
Yeah, we cannot derive our morality based on what other animals do, right? That's our point. Morality, when it regards to animals, we should say, because we know what's better. We know that we don't want these animals to die, because we have empathy towards them. We say,
But
let's
you don't
not kill
think
them,
that
right?
you have like 10,000 years now?
Yeah.
We are not, let's say it's the evolution, yani.
But
We are
nowadays,
here, we can't
I
change
agree.
it like easily one.
No.
I'm not lying to you. We can't change it easily. That's
No, for sure.
We like meat in our DNA, by the way.
Yeah, but let me just say this way. So yes, it's indeed that it's been happening for thousands of years, right?
Yeah.
The only difference is that nowadays we have so many options that are so readily available that we can already say that. Let's imagine it this way. We live in a world where we have to eat meat, we have to do this to animals, we have to do this, we call it a necessary evil, right?
Yeah.
And we continue doing it, but we reached a point where we don't need to do it anymore, because there's other products that survive, that makes us thrive,
Equivalent to
nutritional
that, yeah.
equivalent,
Yeah.
that are great, tasty, whatever, all of it, right? So at that point in time, humanity needs to shift, right? Because this no longer becomes a necessary evil. If a necessary evil is no longer necessary, then it just becomes an evil, right?
Yeah.
Right. So that's we reached this point in our history of humanity. We evolved so much that at this point we don't need to do the same to animals anymore. That's my only point, right?
I agree.
Okay.
To be honest, I agree. But now to end it quick, we have to leave for the army something with
Okay.
conservation.
Let me just quickly
Yeah.
tell you about the environment, because I saw you're very concerned about this, and that's very nice to be concerned. So first of all, the environment, right? Most of the environmental pollution is generated. I don't know if you're aware by how much pollution the animal agriculture generates. So how many animals do you think are killed per year for consumption?
Millions.
Millions?
I think millions.
80 billion.
Billion.
God.
80 billion for a population of 8 billion people. Can you imagine that we have enough resources to feed 80 billion people, but we cannot properly feed 80 billion, animals, but we cannot properly feed 8 billion people, right?
Yeah, that's
So,
Wow.
and
I mean, the numbers are.
the numbers are insane. And actually, this year the numbers was 96 billion. It was even
Wow.
worse. Yeah,
Because of corona.
most of it is chicken, obviously,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of cows, there's a lot of sheep, but most of it is chicken. Like if you think about it, but chicken are just as sentient beings as anybody else. But most of these animals need to be fed, right? Because there's 10 times more than there are humans. And what happens is they grow crops. The reason, for example, why a lot of deforestation happens in Brazil or other countries is because they need to grow crops to feed these animals. You would think that cows are fed grass, but the reality, even in the Netherlands, where cows here are mostly fed grass, like I think it's one of the countries where cows are fed the most grass out of everybody. Cows are fed 70% grass. 30% are still fed soy or corn. And
Why?
30% are still fed soy or corn. Why are they fed like that? Because there isn't enough grass, right? Imagine first of all having a cow. They need to eat a lot. They're 1,000 kilogram mammal, right? They need to eat a lot first of all, and secondly, they grow much faster with soy and corn. And it's also they provide more nutrition to the cow. Regarding B12, at the same time, if we're speaking about cows, B12, the vitamin B12 was cows. used to get it, and animals used to get it by grazing from the ground. It's from bacteria that was providing them with B12, and then you would eat the meat and get the B12 from that bacteria that the cow got because you cannot eat the grass, right?
Yeah.
But what happens nowadays is because of all this environmental pollution, this bacteria is no longer present in a lot of places. So what they do is they also supplement cows with B12. So when you think that you're eating meat saying to get the B12, you're actually
way.
getting a supplement secondhand. Yes, it's kind of ridiculous, right? And it's all of right. And environmentally speaking, cow, like animal agriculture, is the leading producer of methane gas, and methane gas warms our atmosphere by 0.3 degrees, right? So if tomorrow no animal agriculture anymore, the 1.5 degrees Celsius that the target is would go down to 1.2, which is tremendous. It will help out the humanity largely, right? So there's a lot more to be said about environment, and if you Google it, there's certain studies, large studies that show it. There's the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change, that tackles this very thoroughly. But let me just leave you with this, right? As you see, there's the animal side, which you agree is something that animals, it's good to do, right?
Yeah.
There's the
Environmental
environmental side, and there's also health benefits to being right, because you would consume less fat, less saturated fat.
exactly.
The number one killer worldwide is heart disease, and
sure.
less
And,
saturated fat
yes.
means less heart
Healthier.
disease. Yeah. So, given all of this, what is keeping you, both of you, from being
See,
vegan?
let me tell you something. Because we don't have time now, I have a lot of points we can't discuss.
Okay.
Because I have a point of view.
Okay.
Because I'm eating meat, and really I fought a lot with some people. You are very kind.
Yeah.
But other like vegetarian people, they like attack you. You know.
Yeah.
So
But
they
you can
dismiss-
understand why they do
dismiss-
that,
yeah,
right?
I know.
Because
The
they're so
vegan- the
frustrated
vegan-
when they see animals being
for sure,
treated
for
this
sure.
way, right?
100%. I'm very glad.
I'll give you a card. I'll
Yes.
give you a card before you leave. If you go on this website right here, there's a documentary called Dominion. It's pretty gruesome. It's from the animal
Sure.
agriculture. You'll learn about everything that's
Sure.
happening in the animal
Sure.
agriculture, and you get to decide. I don't know from which country you are. When I saw that, it's filmed in UK, US, and Australia, and I thought there's no way this is happening in Netherlands. I googled it. It's happening
It's
here.
happening.
It's the same practices, standard practices everywhere. Then you have resources on how to be vegan. There's a thing called Challenge 22 because it takes 20.
We attended some events in the UAE about being vegan. You
Yeah,
remember?
we live in
did.
Dubai.
Oh,
And we
okay.
might change our
So,
minds. We are
attended-
flexible, but
Yeah.
still we are
We've
not
attended a
convinced 100%.
plant-based,
Yeah.
like a course
With a coach, yeah,
with a
We
coach
did.
to stay for 22 days, but it's very difficult.
It
Yeah.
is.
So just I would say, for being vegan is only difficult if you think about your challenges. But if you think that you're doing it for the animals, that's why I'm saying
will be
it's
different,
so
yes,
much
yes,
easier
yes.
because you get up with the will to say I'm saving a creature. I'm not doing it for myself. I'm doing it
You are
for something
creating
else.
emotional problem.
Yeah, and let me leave you with this: 3 times per day, while you're still deciding 3 times per day when you consume animal products, an animal will go to a slaughterhouse on your behalf, and one person turning vegan can save up to 100 animals per year. Per year, that's a lot, right?
Yeah,
Of course.
That's a lot of animals. So
Thank you for
both
the
of you could
information,
save
by
a
the
lot
way.
of animals,
Thank
right?
you for your time.
Keep
Thank you for your time.
consider it.
We'll
Consider
do.
it.
We'll do.
It's
Thank you so much.
veganuary is challenging.
We will
Just
really
try
will.
it and see how it goes.
Thank you.
Thank you
It's for
very
the
much.
animals more than anything.
Thank you very
Have a good one.